I just love that little tune. That is so much fun. So, hello, everybody. Andrew here. Saturday evening chit chat, and welcome aboard. We are doing our triple cast this evening. Facebook Live, Twitch Live, YouTube Live, all right here just for you. Okay, and I got so wrapped up on doing different things today, getting all prepared because I have a computer story to tell you, that I completely forgot to write down some topics of discussion. So I just jotted a couple down right before we started here. So if I seem more scatterbrained than usual, that's because I am more scatterbrained than usual. And okay, so if you want to join me, I'm going to put this out there. Let me do this. Join me. Come over here. Do a couple things. If you want to join me, have something interesting to talk about, join me here. Okay. Now, I also reserve the right to not put you on or take you off air at any given time as well. Okay. So let me do this. Put that there. Okay. Come over here. Put this over this place here. Do that. Click it there. Okay. Come back over here. And I am good to go, I think. I hope. I know my computer keeps freezing up on me, and that's one of the things I want to talk about this evening. This is really starting to tick me off. This is a brand new computer, brand new refurbished computer, because mine kind of got the one I used to use. Well, I don't know, it didn't kind of got anything. It just died on me a week ago today, matter of fact, and that's been an ordeal trying to get one. And I didn't like any of the brand new ones out at the stores around here. You only have a few stores to choose from. I did not like any of them. I loved the company I dealt with several years back when I had the computer that died on me. And you'll say, well, why'd you love them if it died? Well, it was an older computer to begin with. But they refurbished computers. And let's see here. Make sure. Okay. Yeah. And they refurbished computers. And I'll put a plug out for them. Blair Technology out of Covington, Kentucky, I do believe, or somewhere in Kentucky. But I highly, highly, highly recommend them. They've been super great for me. But this computer I have, all of a sudden today, I've been using it for the last couple of days, and it seemed to be okay. But today, all of a sudden, it started to freeze up on me, and it doesn't load the pages very well. So I got to call the company and talk to them about it. So anyway, thanks for joining. Oh, yeah, we got to do the salute there. How you doing? All right, got the old beverages going on. So. Okay, we do have a sponsor this evening. That's right. We have a sponsor. I wrote a book, and it is now up on, let me put it up here, share screen, do this. This is too cool. This is too cool. Let me get to it. When I get to it, my sponsor is, oh, man, you're going to love this. Here you go. I wrote a book, and it is now up on Kindle, The Inside Out Top to Bottom Fitness Program. All right. I'm not going to put a real long link on here for you. All you got to do is go to Streamer. All you got to do is go to Amazon, type in my name, Kindle books, and boom, you're going to get a Kindle book. So, well, you're not going to get it. I mean, you have to buy it, of course, put it up there. But if you want to do the look you through, or whatever it's called, go for it. But that's my Inside Out Top to Bottom Fitness Program on Kindle. Here's how to work out at home, get in better shape, and be ready for the next stage of your fitness life. Right there. Okay, so look at it, check it out, go for it. There it is, just for you, ready for you to rock and roll with it. So that's the sponsor for this evening. And if I hit a couple of these buttons over here, if I do that, oh, look at that! I'm still playing around with different software that I think StreamYard might have updated recently. I don't know. If I do that, nothing. If I do that one, I get that. Or I can come over here and do that. Oh, okay. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Okay, look at that. Inside Out, Top to Bottom Fitness Program ebook. Go to Kindle, type my name in, and you will find it. So go for it. Okay. Let me get rid of that. So, all right. I can stop the share for now. Okay. So, and that's an ordeal. If you've ever written or of course you got to write it first, but to put up a Kindle book, it's a process. It is a pain in the rear. But luckily, I have a internet mentor that figured this all out the easier way and did a seminar, and I followed it to a T and put it up there. And I got to do some after publication steps I haven't done yet to put it up there, but it's part of it. So that's going well. Hope everybody can hear me. I adjusted some of the settings here, so let me turn it up a little bit. If you're listening and you can hear me, give me just a number 1 or a yes or something in the chat box, and we can go from there. Okay, so things I want to talk about. So the computer situation. Man, oh man, oh man. I'm sorry whoever likes these folks or deals with computer stuff. The customer service and I'm sorry, but this doesn't reflect all the company, but just my experience over at two Best Buy and Staples. Man, I'm telling you, maybe because they were busy or something. I don't know, but it was a pain in the rear, and I don't like dealing with those folks. I don't want all the attention on me. Well, I do, but that's for different purposes. But for the computer, I just had some basic questions, and I couldn't get those answered. Thank goodness there were other people that were in the same position as I was looking at computers, and I overheard them talking, and they were a couple of nerds. I say that in a loving way. A couple of nerds that knew all about the computer stuff, and luckily, I went and took pictures of all the different computers and the specs and everything else. I was comparing at different places, and so I showed these guys the pictures, and they were telling me for my purposes what I needed, which ones were best for me to do to get out there. And these guys had nothing to do with sales or anything. They were just a couple other guys looking at computers. And one thing I didn't want was gaming. So I also got, speaking of computer stuff, I mentioned Blur Technology. I have these things. So we show what these are. These are I call them spit catchers. They're pop filters or pop or wind catcher thingies. You can put them over like this and do it. I got a whole bag of them because I ordered something else. You can put it on there. So I have different colors. I got a red one, looks kind of orange on the screen. A red one. I got a yellow one. Oh my God, that's bright yellow. The way my lights are set up here. I have blue. Oops, I have blue ones. I have all kinds of different ones. I don't know if I'll continue to use them or not. And also, speaking of equipment, this microphone I have is the Behringer. Okay, what's the microphone? Well, anyway, I've been doing some research on microphones because I was thinking of getting another one because this is several years old, and I got it on a whim with a little mixer and headphones and all that good jazz. And I was thinking I needed to upgrade my microphone a little bit because I also do podcasts and I do interviews. If you haven't seen the interviews yet, please scroll down the page, whatever page you're looking at, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. That's where I post my interviews. I do interviews with health and fitness folks from around the globe here on Top Fitness Strategies. And so because of that, and also it will be turned into a podcast soon. And I was thinking maybe I needed to get a different microphone, but I don't think I really need to because now I'm looking at things, and after reviewing or researching this particular microphone, it turns out to be one of the better ones out there. So maybe I'll keep it. I'd like to get one like the golden TFS microphone here, like the golden EIB microphone, but it'll be the golden TFS microphone. So anyway, so let me toast to Rush. How you doing? Godspeed, buddy, and I miss you already. So there you go. Cheers. Those that know. Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Okay, so my computer situation. Also, I'm looking at getting another camera. so I can have two different views and maybe a long view, a long shot of the view here. So I've been looking at different webcams, and there are some real heavy duty expensive ones out there. There are also some real dirt cheap ones out there that are getting great reviews. Now you're saying, well, yeah, but the reviews can be, skewed a little bit because the company can start putting their own reviews up there just to get the reviews up there. Well, when they have 22,000 reviews or some crazy number like that, I don't think a company's going to put that many reviews for themselves up there. So it's actually a 2K camera, supposedly a 2K camera. We'll see when it comes in. It was less than $20. I'm like, you know what? I'll do it. I'll get it and I'll use it and see what happens, because then I can look at a camera over here. I can look at a camera over there. And maybe even to look at a camera up there like that when that camera's on. So I'll have 3 different camera views to use. So, okay. So once again, the people are joining me. Hello. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Wind guard, Paul says. It's a wind guard. What's that? A spit catcher, whatever it's called, Paul. Something like that. And speaking of which, Paul is a friend of mine. We went to high school together. He owns business Figment Computers here in Lyford, Indiana. The guy is a genius when it comes to computers. He has helped me out quite a bit, done several things for me, and answered questions and put up with all my lack of knowledge in this whole game. So that was thank you very much, Paul. Let me put this up there if you want to join me. There you go. Okay. And for whatever reason, I am not able to see comments that are written from Facebook. So I have to come over here to Facebook to look at the comments when I do it. So anyways, he says it's called a wind guard. Now, it's also called something else, not just a wind guard. It's a pop screen. That's what it's called, pop screen. So that's what it is. And here, let me jump out of the camera screen here. I got this one. Speaking of pop screens, I got this one, and it goes on like this over the microphone, but it's way too bulky, way too cumbersome from what I'm looking to do. Oops. So I'm not using it. And so what I decided to do is to get these things. So I did that, and okay, so that's done. Okay. And so that's why I don't use that big one. Okay. All right. So, and what else do I have here? Let's see. Kindle. Yeah, I know I started talking about that a little bit ago. Let me talk about it again. All right. So for Kindle, now writing a book is easier than you think. Yeah, if you want to go about it yourself, there's a lot of stuff that you're going to find out that you could have done differently or could have done better or easier. And there's a lot of trial and error when it comes to writing a book. Okay. It can be done. Cool. Okay, Paul, thanks. It can be done. Writing a book can be done. If you know how to type, you can write. You don't even have to know how to type nowadays. You can you can talk into a microphone and have some place transpose it for you, and you can write a book. All right. And then edit it a little bit, format it a little bit, put it in PDF, slap up a website, boom, you can sell your book. You can use PayPal, you can use different services. All right, but if you want to know the correct way to do it, and you want to learn from somebody who has written a lot of books and has made a lot of money from it, his name is Tom Antion. He's my mentor, and he has a class he is doing teaching people how to write from scratch, from nothing, and it takes you step by step, and it's pretty cool. And I'm in the, I don't want to call it the advanced class because I'm not advanced at all, but because I've been with him for a while, I know a lot of what he's teaching already. So I kind of stepped ahead and went on with the Kindle stuff. And I said Kindle, 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 the Kindle stuff. And so It's not as easy as putting a Word document, converting it to PDF, and boom, you got an ebook. With Kindle, you have to um, do the format differently. You have to upload it. You have to save it to a certain program type or file extension type, whatever the thing is. No, not like .pdf or doc. It's .kdp, kpf, or something like that. Then you have to convert it over to Kindle. Then you have to do that. Then you have to. It's a pain. It is a real pain. But the way Tom does it is he walks you through and step by step, and it's very simple. The process is he simplifies the process, put it that way. I don't want to say the process is simple, but he does simplify the process. Hi, Carmen. Thanks for watching. Paul, you shared my video. Thank you for that. All right, cool. And so what happens then is you can put it up on Kindle. And for those watching now, let me do this again. So I will show you what I did. Screen share, come over here, share the screen with this. For those who didn't see it earlier, my very first Kindle book right there. So if you go to Amazon, type in my name, because I don't know what the long link is to give it out, so I'm not going to do it. Just go to Kindle, Amazon, type in my name, and you will find this Kindle book, the Inside Out Top to Bottom Fitness Program. There you go. If you're on the Kindle program, what's it called? The Kindle, I don't know, Kindle Unlimited or something like that. You can get it for free. Cheers. If you're not, well, you have to pay for it because I have to have a sponsor. Come on now, you know how it works, or maybe you don't know how it works, but that's what happens there. So got that. I've actually written 4 different books. One of them is obsolete. It's no longer no one could ever use it anymore. Put it that way, just for the fact that it was a training for a mortgage product. I used to be in a mortgage business back in the 90s, early 2000s, and it was a training for a specific mortgage product by a specific company, which is the company that got bought out several times by now, and the specific mortgage program is no longer in use. But for practice, I think I'll put it up there. Maybe put it up there for 99 cents. See who wants to do it, and give me practice for putting up another Kindle book. I also wrote another book, 102 health and fitness, 102 at-home common sense health and fitness tips. I wrote that, and I'll be putting that up here before long. And I was also, for a while, I was an Uber driver, Uber and Lyft, rideshare. So I have a rideshare book. And matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pimp that as well. Let's see here. Hold on a second. I think this is it. Let me get to it here. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay, so let's see if I can get to this one. How do I get to it? I don't know how to share this screen. Oops. Okay. I got to figure out how to go from screen to screen to share here. All right, come over here, this tab, ride share. Here we go. Okay. This is it. This will be the easiest side hustle gig you'll ever do. If you want to know the inside secrets of what to do and what not to do before you start. I don't even know. Do I even have a name for this book? I'm sure I do. I just noticed this. I'm going over to my sales page here, and I don't have a name for the book. Oh, that's funny. No wonder it's not going as quickly as I want it to. So what I'm going to do? Oh, that's too funny. Here you go. I am going to. Here is the link. Here is the link to the share book. I paste it there. Do this. Come over here. Blah 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 blah. That. Post that one. Facebook. Any bundled orders available in the future? All right. Wait a second, Paul. Let me post this up here. All right. So Paul asks, any bundle order available in the future? I don't know what you mean by bundle order. I mean, if you want to several of the books, I'll tell you what, Paul, you get one of the books, and I'll throw another two in for you for the price of one. So you get three for the price of one. How's that? All right. So, so this is funny that I didn't know I didn't have. I know I got a name for this book. I got to find out. And I was going to say, let me look for it, but you know what? And Paul will laugh at this one because he's helped me with it. It is all my book stuff is on the hard drive of my old computer. Paul was gracious enough to take out the hard drives and give them to me, and also back them up on a little, well, whatever these things are called. These things are called whatever these things. What are these things called? All right, I can take that off there. These things, USB storage thingies. So, do I have it on this one? Nah, I don't think I have it on this one. But anyway, I'll have to go back and look at it. So, I am just all over the place tonight. That's what you get for not being prepared. Okay, so anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, I was talking about the ride share. I am just so discombobulated right now. I've been fighting with the settings for the cameras and lights and things earlier tonight. And speaking of earlier tonight, this is something I wanted to talk about. So before I came on, I wanted to just thumb drive. That's what these things are called, thumb drives. Thanks, Paul. I was just vegging in front of the television, just to veg out and see what was going on. I said, let me turn on the Roku. Turned on my Roku and started flipping through, and I went to HBO Max, and they had a show called Batwoman. Instead of Batman, it was Batwoman. Like, never heard of this one before. So I think it's a series, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it is, because it said season 1, episode 1, but I didn't know if there was a part season episode 2 or not. I don't know. But it starred Ruby Rose, Rosie Rube, what's Ruby Rose, something like that, her name. The acting was horrible. Oh my God, was it bad? It was such a train wreck. I had to keep watching. Now, the quality of the video was fantastic. The cinematography was phenomenal. I mean, obviously they shot it in at least 4K. And the funny thing is, my TV is not a 4K, and I don't even think I was getting it in 1080p. And I'm talking nerd stuff to a lot of you folks out there, but a lot of you know what I'm talking about as well. But so I started watching this because I wanted to say, okay, let's just see what this is all about. The superhero stuff. I got kind of a geeky for the superhero stuff. I kind of like it. So I've been watching that. But it was so bad. The acting was so bad in this thing. It was a train wreck. And if there is a second episode, I don't know if I want to watch it or not, because it was just that bad. I said the cinematography was great. The storyline had so many freaking holes in it. And they said, nah, because then somebody will say, well, you're being a chauvinist if you say it like that. No, I'm not. But anyway, it was, go find it. You'll know what I'm talking about. If you've seen it before. So, okay. So, any other TV shows? You know what? Speaking of TV shows, here's what we'll do. I will tell you what some of my all-time favorite, let me put this back up there, favorite television shows are. Okay. If you've watched the USA Network for the last 10 to 15 years, they had a plethora of great shows on there. Burn Notice, fantastic. White Collar, fantastic. Suits, fantastic. So there was one called In Plain Sight, fantastic. I think it was short-lived. I don't know what else they could have done. They changed characters quite a bit in the 3 or 4 seasons it was on. Fantastic. There was a show, it was only on for 2 seasons. It was called Life. It wasn't on the USA Network. I think it was on NBC. It was called Life. and that was great. Second season, not as good as the first season, but it was. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, and it kept your interest the whole time. Okay. Now to go even further back to the 2000s, Silk Stockings, baby, absolutely, Silk Stockings in the 90s, I should say. One of the best shows in my entire life. Loved Silk Stockings. And believe it or not, if there's any stalkers out there like myself, that's what we call ourselves. There was 3 phases of Silk Stockings. There was Chris and Rita, and then that was called Classic Silk. Then they got replaced by 2 other folks, and those guys, the 2 folks that as Cassandra and John. Cassandra, no. Okay, I don't. It's maybe I remember who it was. It was Cassandra or somebody. But they got the no, that they were the end. Never mind. That was the new Silk, and then the ones in the middle, they didn't. They only lasted a short time because people were boycotting it because of the way they got rid of Chris and Rita. It just wasn't good. So, stalkers, the Silk Stocking fans, Classic Silk, Middle Silk, or Forgotten Silk, as some people call it, and then New Silk. So it depends on how you look at it. But it was a good show. In the 80s, loved Hardcastle McCormick. Hardcastle McCormick was my jam, man. I'm telling you, that was my jam. So if anybody ever watched those shows, there you go. But no, the last 10, 15 years, the USA Network has dominated in my book. I try to stay away from starting new series and watch them because I want to stay away from them. I don't want to get wrapped up into a series. And if I wanted to, I can go back and watch Burn Notice, White Collar, Suits, In Plain Sight, Life. Oh, Leverage. Leverage was fantastic as well. And they're coming out with Leverage 2.0, and it's going to be on the IMDb network. I don't know when it's premiering, and I don't know if that's a paid network to get on. I know this because I follow a lot of the Leverage folks on Twitter. Even though I'm not active on Twitter, I go on there occasionally just to check on things because Twitter is a cesspool. I'm telling you, if you get any relevant information off of Twitter, you're doing it wrong. It's a cesspool of crap. But it's fun to get on there and see what people are up to. But don't take any serious news from there. And I'm sorry for all your Twitter fans out there that like to tweet. It is horrible. Pluto has Leverage channel. They used to, Paul. They used to. The last time I went to Pluto to check, which has been several months, they no longer have the Leverage channel. And I think it's because it went to a different network, I think, because I used to watch it all the time. All right. There's one episode that is absolutely my favorite. It's when Elliot was the country singer. And believe it or not, let's see here. Oh, it's back. Okay. Paul says it's back. Great. I'll have to go to Pluto and check it out. Love Leverage. Sophie in I think season 3. Or maybe it was season 3 after she had her kid. She came back until end of March. Okay, I guess that's probably when the new one's going to kick in on the IMDb network, Paul. I bet you. And that's what's going to happen over there. And no, Sophie was an absolute dreamboat after she had her kid. I guess she started working out because man, she was smoking at that point, and so was who's the not Parker, but who filled in for Sophie? What was her name? I'll think of it here in a second. It was her real name in real life is Jerry. What is her name? And I'll think of it here in a second. But man, oh man, she's smoking hot too. So yes, I said smoking hot. Sorry, deal with it. Salute there. But no, Leverage is a fun show. That's one of those shows, and all the shows I named basically, with the exception of maybe Life, because you didn't really fall in love with the characters because they didn't have it long enough. But Leverage, if you're a fan of Leverage, you will fall in love with all the characters. You will fall in love with them, and you'll be part of their show. And it's fun, and it's funny because that's the way I felt with it. Burn Notice, same way. White Collar, absolutely. Suits, not as much, but Ryan, yeah, Jerry Ryan was her name. Yeah, last name. But I don't know what her name on the show was. Jerry Ryan was a real name because she was, I do believe, yeah, Jerry Ryan. And I do believe it's Jerry with an I, also Paul, Jerri, Ryan. I can't think of what her name on the show was. I'll think of it before you'll get to it before I will. I'm sure you will, Paul, and come up with it there. So let me take this off of there. No, but Jerry Ryan, oh yeah, and she added to the show because when Sophie left because she was pregnant, she had a kid, and I think it was the end of season 2 or the end of season 3, when she came back at the very last couple of scenes. And I rewatched it several times just to see if I could catch it. When they showed a close up of her face, you can see she had her face was not really swollen, but when you're 7, 8, 9 months pregnant, you kind of, and I don't want to say fat because it's not fat. It's you just get bigger all around, right? Because you're doing the baby stuff. But they never showed her from the neck down, and she had on this big black and white jacket, a stylish jacket, and a couple times they showed her from the back. It wasn't her, and I know this. Well, I don't know this for a fact. I do not know this for a fact, just because when I watched it diligently to see the placement of people for when she was talking when they showed her from the front and when they showed from the back, she wasn't in the same place. So it was a body double. That's the only thing I could figure. Tara, that was it. Tara. I knew Paul would get me there. Tara, that's right. Tara. Was it Tara? I guess okay, he's looking it up. It doesn't sound right. Yeah. But anyway, so Parker and Hardison. Oh, speaking of the new Leverage that's coming out soon, Hardison isn't in it. I guess he makes a couple of cameos, but from what I read, could be wrong, but what I read, it is his sister who is the hacker. Also, Nate isn't in it. And the reason Nate isn't in it, and they have a new head person, the mastermind guy, is because, and what I read, it was all false allegations, but I don't know for a fact. And once again, who knows the truth? That I don't know. But there was some sort of, I don't want child molesting is not the right thing, but some sort of things of that nature that came up against. I can't think of everybody's name now. Nate Ford is the character's name, but what the heck is his real name? But anyway, they came up. That's why he is not on the show. That's what they say, at least. They didn't want to put that controversy out there, and so I'm kind of hesitant to watch it because he's not on there. But I want to because I love the show so much. So when it comes up, and once again, the IMDb network, I don't know if it's a paid thing or what have you. But anyway, that's my Leverage thing. Burn Notice is not going to be coming back. I guess they tried a couple of reunions because I follow the Burn Notice cast on Twitter. Once again, they tried a couple of reunions, and apparently the cast doesn't get along with each other, from what I understand. So we'll just leave it at that. White Collar can't come back just by the way it ended. It would almost be an impossibility for it to come back. It would be a far stretch for it to come back. Suits, it could pick up where it left off, but I don't think it would be a good idea to do so. Life, oh man, I wish that didn't go off like it did, but that happened during the writer's strike of 2006, 2007, something like that. And because of the writer's strike, I don't know why I know this stuff. I just do. I guess because I followed it too much. IMDb TV is free. Thanks, Paul. Hey, Bill. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for joining us. So yeah, IMDb is free. So great. I have to make sure I get that on my Roku then. Great. Fantastic. And oh yeah, Life. The show Life would come in 2006, 2007. It was played for 2 seasons. Season 1 was great. Season 2 kind of went over the edge a little bit because the co-star in season 1 got pregnant, so she couldn't be in season 2. So they put her undercover somewhere else. And it led the latter half of season 2. And I didn't like the direction they were going with the character, her character either. I wish they didn't go that route, but they did. But that show had some run on it. It still had some ways to go. It could have went. But a couple of characters they took way off the deep end, way off the beaten path, and they shouldn't have done it. But hey, that's just the way it goes. But what was his name? Damien something played on Life. He was also played on Homeland. I guess that's where he made his big splash on Homeland. He did really good in that show. Okay. Now, if anybody else wants to jump in and ask me about another show, if I saw it or not, I'll let you know. I don't watch a whole lot of network television. I just don't. Sorry. Watch WWF or WWE now. And there's a funny story. It used to be WWF. For those who don't know, I'll tell you. Another one of these stupid facts that I know. Why I don't know. I just know them. All right. WWF back in the day, the World Wrestling Federation. WWF. There's also a company called the World Wildlife Fund, WWF. Now, they claim, the World Wildlife Fund claimed that they had the trademark or the initials WWF way before the World Wrestling Federation did, which in truth, they did. They've been an organization longer because before the WWF, it was the WWF. Vince McMahon bought it from his father, blah, blah, blah. All right, we won't get into that. So there's some world court somewhere, and I don't understand all this, or I never looked into why it happened, but it did. Timothy Hutton, that's who played Nate Ford. Now I'm jumping all around here. Okay. So the WWF, the World Wrestling Federation, was taken to court, this world court, by the World Wildlife Fund, because the World Wildlife Fund said when people are typing in WWF into Google, I shouldn't say into Google because Google wasn't even around at that point, but when people are looking for WWF or the World Wildlife Fund, they type in WWF and all they get is all this wrestling stuff. So this court said, wrestling guys, they're kind of right. They've been around longer, so they kind of own that. So the World Wrestling Federation said, you know what, Judge? Great, fantastic. We'll change all our logos. We'll change it. You don't have to worry about it anymore. So if you actually look at some of the old footage that they put up on television where they have the WWF logo on the bottom of the screen somewhere, they blur it out, right? But what they changed it to the WWE, which is the World Wrestling Entertainment, and their tagline was, and this was brilliant, it says, WWE, just get the F out. I thought that was brilliant. Then the World Wildlife Fund kind of backfired on them because then they said they didn't like the idea that people are still looking for the WWF, the wrestling guys, and is looking for them. And the court says, too bad, forget it. We already did you a favor. They changed everything about them, and too bad. And now it's not. I don't know if they still call it the WWE anymore. They call it the thing is just WW. And I guess WWL because it stands for Weight Watchers now too. So I guess it's WWE. So World Wrestling Entertainment. So there you go. Okay. So I talked about that. By the way, this is my homemade stuff. I actually combined my whiskey with a little bit of the maple stuff that I had. So it's pretty good. A little bit on the sweet side this evening. Robbie, WWF sounded better. They still call it the WWE. Hi, Robbie. How you doing, buddy? Hey, Robbie Strike. This is if you want to know anything about over-the-air television, he's the guy to talk to. Go to Robbie Strike, and I don't know his YouTube channel off the top of my head. But search Robbie Strike, and you will find out anything you want to find out about over there television. He uses those, those old satellite dishes, the big ones you see in the yards, or the smaller ones, or different sizes. I'm not going to even attempt to do or say what he does, but he shows people how to convert those and pick up all kinds of TV stations from around the world for basically free. They still call it WWE. Oh, here he is. Okay, Robbie's going to come on with me here. All right, Robbie. Uh-oh.
Hey,
there he is.
I'm just going to go downstairs. The kids are sleeping.
Okay. Well, hello there, buddy. This is the first time I think you and I have spoken live, maybe, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. No, my computer might be freezing up a little bit. I don't know if you're there or not, but we can talk about over-the-air television. Whoever wants to come on here.
Just carrying my laptop downstairs.
Okay. All right. Okay. So we'll get to it in a second. But yeah, he can be more at home and tell you what's going on more than I can. That's for certain about what he does. But it's fascinating as heck. I've watched a lot of his videos, and they are just fascinating as heck. I don't understand
the feedback on YouTube. That going on.
What was that?
I'm getting the feedback on YouTube here. I'll turn off YouTube and I'll leave on StreamYard. Okay. I think we might be more live connected now.
Okay. Yeah, you're free.
This before.
I
this
can
is
hear.
Cool. I want to use this for one of my live streams. Although I use Restream, which is similar to StreamYard.
What's it called?
Restream.
Restream. I never heard of Restream. I've heard of yesterday. I found out something called Streamlabs. I don't know if you've ever heard of Streamlabs or not. That's the first time. But you're freezing on me. I hear you fine, but your picture's freezing on me. So I don't know if that's on my end or your end.
It could be my end.
Okay.
There's a lot of connection here. I don't know. Am I using? I'm on Wi-Fi. I'm not on hard connection. Usually with my other computer, which I live stream on, I have the LAN connection plugged in.
Okay.
And it makes it a little bit faster.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tell you what.
I remember when WWE switched to, or it was WWF, and they switched to WWE, and it was first it was like the Undertaker was champion, and I was trying to figure out what he was calling it, because it sounded like at first he said it was the WWA, which was another wrestling promotion.
Yeah, I know. They never called it that. That's for certain. Never did.
And when I heard WWE, I was like back in the really old days of the internet when like there was chat rooms.
Yeah.
There used to be these things called eFeds, where it was like a chat-based wrestling game that people used to do way back in the day. And that's what made me, when they started calling it the WWE, that's what I was thinking of, like a cheesy, a cheesy computer thing. Yeah.
Hold on a second, Robbie. Hey, Paul, if you're still watching or still listening, send me a message and see if Robbie's freezing up on your screen, because it could be just my screen he's freezing up on, but I can hear him perfectly, but his video is freezing up on me. So so if Paul's watching, he'll let me know. So yeah, now you're there. Okay, now you're okay. Now you're not frozen. No, well, now you are again. So we'll find out if it's me or you. It's coming up. So so all right. So yeah, the WWE. That came in the Attitude Era, which was in the late 90s. It came in. Before that was WWF, and it was just
2002-ish, or 2001, 2002, around that time. You could Wikipedia it, and you'd find out the exact date when it switched.
Really? See, I thought it was in the late 90s. Okay, it was early 2000s.
No. Yeah, because they bought WCW, and they were still WWF when they bought WCW.
Oh, really? Okay, all right.
Yeah, and so they had this horrible invasion angle, because like it was going to be like it could have been one of the biggest things ever in wrestling, have WWF versus WCW, and they tried to do that, but it just didn't. Sometimes things on paper don't play out as well in real life, and that was kind of the situation with the whole WCW thing. And they didn't have all the big names there. They had kind of the mid-carders that were
I
So
listened to Jim Cornette's podcast. I don't know if you listen to his podcast or not, but
he's a good one to talk to. Jim
it's
Cornette, Jim Ross.
fantastic. Yeah, because he was around during the '90s and everything else, and
Has no idea what he's talking about when he talks about politics, but we won't get into that stuff.
yeah, yeah. I do not agree with him at all on politics, but thank goodness he doesn't talk about it a whole lot. At least I don't hear him talk about it. If he does, because I don't listen to the whole podcast. I listen to the ones that are broken up on YouTube. The
Yeah.
different.
Oh yeah. It's like he's interesting to listen to. He's been around wrestling for so long. You know, like back in the old NWA days, and
He was before he was a manager. He came around manager, I think 80, 82, 83. He was a photographer for in the
yes,
Louisville area, Louisville, Kentucky area.
yes. Same
Yeah,
thing with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman started as a
yeah,
photographer,
yeah,
and Vince McMahon Senior liked him and let him come in and do pictures with Vince Senior, Vince's dad, Vince McMahon's dad,
yeah, yeah,
and Andre the Giant and stuff like that. So there's
yeah.
some interesting backstory there too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's fun to talk about and things of that sort. Because I started watching. Well, I mean, I was watching when I was a little kid. Around here, a guy by the name of Dick the Bruiser was big. We watched Saturday morning. Wrestling is basically all you had was Saturday mornings, and so we go to school when I was in second, third, fourth grade, and we all say, "Hey, did you watch it on Saturday?" Yeah, it was great. So almost blood in every match. It seemed like it was great. And then as cable came into play, then we had the Superstation and WTBS around here, and so that's when the NWA came into existence, which then
Jim Crockett
bought them. Yep, yeah, that bought them out. So
well, when I was a teenager, we got the TBS because here in Canada we didn't get the USA Network, but we did get TBS.
Okay.
So for a while, I was actually a bigger WCW fan, like in the '90s, in the early, the pre-Hogan days. It was like Cactus Jack, Steve Austin, Ric Flair, Vader, guys like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I liked it better than WWE, WWF. I still call it when I refer to WWF in the '80s, I call it WWF. Like I don't have anyone coming after me for calling it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A big corporation, they have to walk more lightly, like the WWF. But yeah, I would. I was a huge fan. I watched TBS, and that's what got me into like NWA wrestling. And
oh yeah,
see, we had Saturday morning wrestling, but for a while, the Saturday morning wrestling was they had like the shows with just the squash matches. You know, it's just like enhancement matches.
Yeah.
So we just had that, and then we didn't get the USA Network, which made me want a satellite dish. That's kind of where. Well, I wanted one before that, but I wanted one even more because I was a wrestling fan, and so having one of those big satellite dishes back in the '90s would have been what you would have needed. I think there was kids that had them, and I knew a few people. I got some VHS tapes of like the pay-per-views.
Oh yeah, that's how I used to do as well. Yeah,
and the Monday Night Raws, and even the MSG events. I mean, I follow a guy who's a Gary Michael Capetta, and he posts pictures like the HBO in the '70s would have wrestling on.
Really?
Yeah, like home box office HBO would have wrestling and be on satellite, and there is sometimes there'd be like matches of Vince McMahon Sr. would work with NWA and co-promote. They used to do that. They would acknowledge each other back in the '70s, and then kind of in the '80s, the WWF would never mention the NWA or anything like that. It was only WWF.
And that's what now with Cody Rhodes in the what's it called, AEW? He's talking about wanting to do some sort of co-promotion with the WWE. Vince is never going to go for that, man, because he will
what
not.
What they're doing now is there's the other Impact Wrestling.
Impact, yeah.
Yeah, Impact Wrestling and Tony Khan.
AEW.
They've been kind of doing this co-promotion stuff, which is cool to see because I've actually been becoming more of a fan of AEW and even Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, all these other wrestling promotions more than WWE.
I don't think I've ever watched Impact. I mean, if I have, it's just in passing. I really don't get into it much.
Yeah, it's accessible if you don't have cable because you can watch it on Twitch, and you can watch it. It's streaming somewhere.
I did not know that. I have cable. I didn't know it was streaming on Twitch. Okay, I have to find that on Twitch
Yeah,
then.
it's on Access TV, which was a satellite channel. Got
Okay.
all excited and made a video about it, but then the channel went away because which is what happens with free to air satellite. You get this cable channel, and it's like, oh great, you got this channel, and there's HD net movies, and they were there for a few weeks, and then they go away.
Yeah. So, all right. So how does all this work? First of all, how do you find these channels? How do you go about doing it? I mean, for somebody who knows nothing about the free to air stuff outside of an aerial antenna on the side of your house, but you like do that on steroids, from what I understand.
Yeah, kind of. This is a big way of saying it. Yeah.
So, how do you find channel? Where do you even know where to look for channels?
Well, sometimes I just do a simple scan, point the dish at a certain satellite, and there's usually another channel that I know as a reference, and I'll scan, and then all of a sudden there'll be like this new channel that will pop up,
Okay.
and I'll go to it, and it'll be like a feed of of this other channel. It's a little different than back in the analog days. The analog days, you had a receiver, and it was like your TV dial. You just went through the channels, and then they just worked, right? But now you
Okay.
kind of have to. It's like your over-the-air TV. You have to scan. If you watch TV with an antenna, sometimes you have to scan it to scan in all the channels, and it takes like 10 minutes or so to do
Okay.
to do that. So
So
it's
if
kind of
you
like
turn
that
on,
with a,
if
but
you
I do find channels. Usually, the better way of finding channels is there's forums. One in particular is called Rick's Wild Feeds, and then if there's a new channel up there, someone will post
okay.
with the frequency it's on. Or even you just need to know what satellites it is on, and then you just do a blind scan of that satellite, and then you find the channel where it's on. So they kind of put it up on these forum sites when there's new
Okay.
channels.
All right. So you just I mean, I have so many questions about this, and
Mhm.
I don't want to take up your time asking you questions.
Oh, I love talking about it. I created a
Okay.
whole
So if
YouTube
you would turn
channel.
on your television right now,
Yeah.
roughly how many channels do you have, or that you can just start pressing your button and go through and not repeating the channel? If
Um,
I'm saying that right.
I'd
Eng, Eng,
say,
English speaking.
yeah. See, the thing is with the satellite, you some if you have like the big dish, it's on an actuator, like a motor that will move the dish to different satellites. So
Okay.
some satellites might just have one or two channels, and then but I sometimes park on that satellite because it has the channel that I actually want to watch. And then other satellites will have like 100 channels of nothing that you want to watch at all, right?
Okay.
So it varies. It is kind of like a little bit of a hunting hobby
Okay.
where you have to seek out stuff. But I have a few of the smaller dishes, which is called KU band, which is um, it's slightly larger, but not as large as those big black dishes, which is what the C band
Okay.
frequencies. So
Okay.
it's not necessarily a matter of um, since you have to move the dish. I have two dishes on different motors. Um, there is you need about you can just fix the dish where you want your channels, and then there's some satellites that have like say 15 to 20 channels that are the channels that I like, so I kind of stay parked there.
Okay.
So, but it's not like your subscription service where you have a direct to home service, like say for example Dish Network, and you get like 200 channels, and you just leave it parked there. It's
Mhm.
kind of like you have to either move the dish or have multiple dishes. I have kind of both scenarios at my house where I have multiple dishes. But if you just had one dish, it would be on like a motor, and then the motor would move to different satellites to get the different channels. But
Okay.
some satellites will have like say some satellites can have 200 channels. Other satellites might have like there'll be 200 channels, but only like maybe two or three that are not encrypted.
Okay. So when you say the satellite moves, it rotates. So do you have to physically rotate it? I mean, obviously it has a motor and you move it, but or does it go with the satellite? The satellite moves; it moves automatically with the satellite.
No, no, you just move it to where the satellite is. All the satellites are in geostationary orbit, so they're moving, but they're not like moving. They're not like moving on Earth. They're always in the same spot.
Okay.
That's why, like for like example, if you've seen a Dish Network dish, for example, or DirecTV,
Hmm.
they're always in the same spot because they're always pointed just at one satellite. In some cases, it's two satellites because, like for example, Dish Network will have two LMBs on the dish, on that feed horn part,
Okay.
so that it can pick up two different satellites, and then the receiver will tell it to switch between which LMB for what satellite the receiver wants to pick up. So it's
Aha.
a little bit more complicated than um, your direct to home system where they have it set up for most consumers to just pick up, hold the remote, and get it working.
Okay. All right.
But
So
if so, go ahead.
since we're talking about the like the dish and DirecTV satellite dishes, those are not what you use to pick up these other things, right?
No, no, they're subscription services, and being what they are, that you don't need as large of a dish. What I use is a little bit larger type satellite dish. It's one of the main ones I use is a 36-inch dish. So what are those? For example, Dish Networks. Are they like 20,
I
20
have
something
I don't know.
centimeters?
So, but
Or
so you can't use the shell of the. I mean, obviously it's is different than Dish or DirecTV, but
yeah, because it works at different frequencies, so you actually do need a larger dish for a
okay.
lot of the free to air channels.
Now there's
Now,
one house close to me that has that great big. It looks like it's like 20 foot wide in their
okay.
backyard. Are those still? Can you use those? Or are those obsolete or
Oh
what?
no, you can use that. That's the biggest misconception, is that those big C-band dishes are obsolete. They actually are more channels, and then the bigger, the better, is the way it
Okay.
works.
Okay.
Because there's some transponders on satellite that are, see, the broadcast industry still uses that technology. They're still not able to get data lines that are fast enough, because they're like, when you're dealing with the master feeds,
Hmm.
that's like really high quality digital, probably like 20 megabyte per, is it 20 megabyte? That's what is, it's just a much higher bit rate than what you get with even streaming stuff. Like if you watch a video on YouTube, they
Hmm.
compress it down so that the servers can be able to serve down. They'll say it's HD, but the
Right.
bit rate might be the same as what a standard definition channel is.
Okay. All right. So I know because my mom has an aerial, just an antenna to pick up local stations, and the picture comes in crystal clear. I mean, you can see the pimples on somebody's ass if you need to with it with
I
this
want
thing.
to see that, but yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
digital
you
TV,
know what I'm talking
the
about.
picture
So is
quality
that the same with
is
the satellite? Those
sure
big
is.
satellite dishes, the same thing. You can do it like that. Does it come in that
Yeah, on
clear?
some of the channels. Now, some channels are just like the same thing you get with over the air TV. They fit like, say, over the air TV. Some channels fit 8 channels on what used to be one channel. Like you get all those diginets like Me TV and
Right.
Antenna TV, shopping networks and Cubo and all these other channels that they fit over TV. It's actually we're in a golden era of TV because there's so much free content. Like it
Okay.
used to be, you just had to go to the cable company, but now you got streaming options, you got over the air and free to air. There's so many options for TV compared to, like, I don't know, back in the '90s we had an analog cable, and it was maybe 60 channels.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So, do you watch stuff from other countries in
Oh
different
yeah,
languages and
oh
everything?
yeah. I don't really watch too much of the different language, but I see, just to see what's going on. There's lots of international news channels too. That I get. There's RT out of Russia. Well, RT America, like they talk about American news a lot of the time,
Hmm.
and that's on Galaxy 19, which is one of the most common free to air satellites. There used to be a lot of channels on Galaxy 19, and there still is a lot of channels, but a lot of the English channels that are not religious and not foreign language channels have gone away. There used to be like retro TV, tough TV used to be on Galaxy 19. There's quite a handful of other channels there, but most of what is on Galaxy 19 is mostly religious channels like TBN and Victory Channel, stuff like
Okay.
that. And but there's a few news channels there, and probably I'm always going to forget one of the good ones that are. There's a movie channel there as well. There's a
So,
movie channel.
Galaxy 19, that's a satellite.
Yes, that's a satellite. It's Galaxy 19 at 97 West. That's kind of like the beginner satellite. That's like the first satellite that when I got into the free to air hobby, I got a KU band dish, and first started with that when there's a lot more channels on it at that time,
Mm-hmm.
like a lot more English channels. And I think because satellite to have a satellite channel, it's at least $5,000 a month for a broadcaster to put these channels on satellite. And
Oh my
usually there's special interest groups. So streaming on the internet, like doing what you're doing right now, it costs nothing. So a lot of broadcasters say, well, I can do this and have a better quality. And if it does drop out, at least I can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
so are you saying that a lot of broadcasters are saying, I'm not going to put anything up on these satellites anymore, and so they're going away? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, a lot of them are just with the internet and just IP streaming. It's become a lot cheaper for them to do that. Like you got $5,000 for a standard definition channel,
Mhm.
and like $20,000 a month for maybe a 720p channel, and maybe 30,000 for a high definition channel.
Okay.
But there is some big media companies, special interest groups. They can crowd fund that money to be able to be on the air. Like these religious organizations get enough donations to be able to put TBN, for example, up on satellite all the time. And Russia Today, Putin is able to fund Russia Today and put that up on
Okay.
satellite. And he has a few of those too. That's not just that one channel. There's a few of those repeated on satellite. So they're spending double. They're even spending that a couple times over on different satellites.
So the ones that are taking their stations off of the satellites and going to streaming, how do you find those?
Their websites. A lot of them, a lot of TV channels will, you go to their website and they'll have their channels feed right there on their website.
Really? I did not know
Yeah,
that.
like I don't know for I'd have to name off some of the diginets, but like Comet TV, for example, which is owned by Sinclair Broadcasting,
Yeah,
and they
comment. Yeah.
Sinclair Broadcasting has quite a few of these diginets, digital subchannel,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
and so Sinclair Broadcasting tends to do that where they stream all their channels. They don't have them up on satellite, but then there's some of them like Me TV is on C band. It's 101 West, which is the
Okay.
position of where the satellite is. So you can get MeTV,
Cozy.
Cozy's on a different satellite, but
Grit.
you can get Decade, yeah, Grit, and all those channels, all those digital
Yeah.
sub
Yeah.
channels.
Yeah. I know those
Um,
because once again, my mom's on
yeah, and I
UTA.
love that. I mean, that's what I like about TV. I like watching. I'll put on Andy Griffith, I'll put on Leave It to Beaver, and shows like that.
Welcome back,
For
Kotter. Hogan's Heroes, my favorites. There you
yeah, yeah, yeah.
go. So
That
what
was
about
Antenna TV. I was a big fan of that.
antenna TV? So okay,
Yeah.
so what about some of the news stations like a Fox News or a CNN? I got to say both of them, or people get
Yeah,
mad.
yeah, yeah. I say both of them so we don't offend anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
um,
Can you
well,
get those on your satellite?
no, they're pay TV, so a lot of those channels that are cable channels they're on satellite, but they're encrypted, so you can't get them.
Okay.
Usually their backhauls are on there because they're sending that to cable channels, like the small cable systems, all over North America, even in small towns here in Canada. You'll see like a little, you know, a shack with like a satellite dish out front. And that's their local cable provider for a small village. You see
Okay.
that sometimes. So yeah, and they'll have like the Fox News and the CNN. Now, I would like to point out though on 87 West, I don't get actually the talking heads for CNN, but I get all there's like 8 channels for their backhauls and their feeds, which is even more fun to watch because you can watch like the news conferences. If the president does a press conference or anything like that, it's all the whole feeds there without any interrupted, no commercials or anything.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that you can. These are great. I mean, I really, especially I'm into politics. So during the election time, it's really cool to see all these, the press conferences and all that unedited.
Wow. So, all right. So I mean, if we can talk about politics as well, 'cause I think you and I may be falling on the same side of the politics scale here. So, but we can talk that all night. But I'm just so fascinated with this satellite stuff. So, do you go around and install stuff for other folks as well? Is that
Uh,
business of yours?
At one time, I was looking into that, but then it's almost like to do a business these days, you have to have insurance so you don't fall off a ladder, break your neck, and
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just the rules and regulations. It discourages people like me to start a business. You know. I I looked at that because I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. So I'm a Christian person, and I thought because there's so many religious channels, maybe there would be some Christian people that would be interested in like lots of faith-based channels. But it's like trying to sell ice to Eskimos. They're not really interested in that.
Yeah. So, all right. So you have a YouTube channel. Okay. Well, let me back up a second. So, if you don't mind me asking, if you don't want to say, don't say. But what do you do for a living?
I work as a driver. Like I drive professional driver. So it's just that's what I do to make my living, and I do the YouTube stuff as a hobby.
Driver, or what do you mean a driver? Uber and Lyft? What do you mean?
I work for a transit.
A what?
Driver. A bus driver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I used to be an Uber and Lyft driver. And if you watched earlier tonight, I actually talked about a book that I wrote about being a rideshare driver. So, but when it was funny because the car I was using got aged out, was what they call it in my area. So I couldn't use it anymore. So I bought a Prius. Nice car, fantastic car. And I bought it right when the COVID stuff hit, right at a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
Matter of fact, it was a year ago today.
A year ago this month or so,
yeah. Year ago today or tomorrow. Yeah, last day of February. I bought it last year. And by the time I got the insurance, played it, and I got it approved to drive with Uber and Lyft because they got to approve your vehicle and all this stuff. All the COVID stuff hit. I'm like, you know what? Because my mom lives half the year in Florida and half the year she comes back here, and I live in Indiana, so she lives with me. She's elderly. I'm like, I'm not going to do that and bring any kind of crap in here. And plus, at the time with all the racial tensions going on, and that's what I don't need to pick up somebody that doesn't like me because of the color of my skin, and I don't want to be putting that. And so I didn't drive mile one with the Prius. Loved the car. After 4 months, I sold it. Sold it for about this. I bought it. Love the Prius.
The thing is, I have an old rusty car. I won't say what car it is, but it's like in Canada we have the salt on the road, like the salt and the chemicals. And if you don't have your car rust protected, it just gets all rusty and nasty at the bottom. So I have this old rusty car, but I've been praying, and it's by the grace of God that our car, which should be like dead now, it's still working, and we just don't want to buy a new car at this time, because and plus we're just sitting at home a lot. We've been on lockdowns here in Ontario. My kids they're back to school now, but I mean, there was a rough time when they were homeschooling, and I liked it. I loved being home with my family. That was great.
Right. Good for you. I was born in Toronto. Go Leafs!
You told me that before.
Go Leafs! Yeah. So how
did you become an American citizen? Did you or your parents?
When I was 4 years old, my sister was 5 or 6. My parents moved to Indiana from Toronto. My mom and dad actually came from are born and raised in Italy. Dad moved to Toronto to find work, and a love story between mom and dad. He went back for a few years later, and they got married and went to Canada, and out came my sister and myself, and then Dad moved down to Indiana because he had a great aunt that lived here. And after high school, I became a U.S. citizen, and I'm a dual citizen, U.S. and Canada.
Really cool.
Yeah,
that's good.
So that's good. So, so getting back to what we were talking about before, you have a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
Have you monetized it?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Okay. All right. I can go on there and look and see how many subscribers you have, and I'm not going to ask you, but so I hope you're making money because you're very knowledgeable with this stuff, and
make a little bit, and not enough to really do it full time or anything like that. And there has been some people who do YouTube, and they're able to do it full time. And
I know.
I follow them. I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. And
have you written a book about your hobby?
I'm not big into writing and reading, and that's kind of why I got into the whole video part, because I like doing videos, and just never been into writing stuff. So I prefer. I'm a horrible speller, so I would prefer to actually make a video talking about something and showing how to do it than actually trying to write it down.
Have you ever thought about doing a video course and have people pay for the course and show them step by step. From this is
Well,
the beginning. This is how you
yeah,
plug in the
yeah.
light.
I've thought of that, but I find people just don't want to pay for things, and
You'd be
with
surprised. You would
yeah,
be surprised. I mean, look
and
at me. I'm inquisitive, asking all kinds of
yeah,
stuff.
you do what you do. Yeah, you do your
Matter,
hobby
matter,
stuff.
matter of fact, I'll put this out there to you. If you want to produce something like that, let me know, and I'll be your guinea pig. I'll be the one asking you questions, so at least you'll understand how where somebody who has no knowledge of this comes from,
Mm-hmm.
because you've been in depth with this for a long time. So what seems common sense to you, for someone like me, I have no idea. Like you're talking about K bands
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. No,
galaxy.
I'd rather talk to you about that, but I like giving stuff. I like doing this for free. I like making like I'll monetize it, and make a little bit of the ads, and if people do
Okay.
watch it, I
Yeah.
do appreciate it. It just allows me to make generate. I believe in advertising. I My father ran an advertising company where we did a flyer delivery business. So the way he explained it to me is, we advertise for this retail store, which helps people buy stuff in that retail store, which allows them to get a job to make a living. So that's how I looked at advertising growing up, and even though I was just delivering flyers, newspapers to people's houses door to door, it looked like it was a good way of contributing to society. I was delivering that so people would buy something from a store, and then help someone have a job in that store. Same thing.
Okay.
I support eBay, because eBay, like, I have these affiliate links, so I do make a little bit of money sending people to what satellite dishes to buy. So that I tell them to buy from this seller on eBay, and when they go to eBay, I can make a small commission off of that,
Right.
and
Right.
then
Yeah.
so I can make money that way without having to charge people. And so I like doing things that way.
Okay.
I could offer a course and all that, and maybe I can even look into doing that. But I rather there's a community that I'm really involved in called the Linux community, which is a free computer software community, and it's an alternative to Windows and Apple Macintosh, where there's software. It's just as good, but it's free, and people just volunteer their time and donate their time, and they receive donations to develop software. I use this to make all my videos, which has allowed me to run this little business side gig that I had. I wouldn't be able to do it if there wasn't a free editing software that I was
Hmm.
able to do that. That somebody donated their time, and people donated time and money into developing the software. So I kind of feel like I'm part of that community of sharing.
Okay. All right.
But
Well,
also, there's ways of making money that is not necessarily charging people in that type of way.
oh, absolutely. Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm also a believer that if you have knowledge, and such as what you do, because you obviously have extensive knowledge, it is fine to charge people for your knowledge. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
yeah.
people charge other people for their knowledge all the time.
I find I help a lot of people one on one, and I think that's where a lot of people they need to pick my brain on where they're at.
Mhm.
And although I guess I can give that away for free, I do ask for donations.
Well, as you
And
should, as you should.
yeah,
And there's
um,
nothing wrong with that. Absolutely.
and so what I do is I have had a doctor call me last week, and he was looking for help on how to get a free to air system going out in his place in the country, and he gave me a generous donation on my PayPal account just for
Yeah.
spending a couple hours talking to him on Facebook Messenger. That's how a lot of people talk these days, over on Facebook Messenger. It allows you to
Okay.
give a talk one on one.
Okay. Well, here's what I'm going to offer to you. All right. We'll set up a time for me, just me and you, like this. More when I'm more coherent and I have more questions written down, and I'll record it and I'll do all the work. Right. All you got to do is talk. I'll have it transcribed and everything else, and we will produce some sort of book, video, or something. We can market it together. You can market it. I can market it. Whatever. And we can split the profits if it's sold. Put it up on Kindle or something if you want to. I mean, I'm not going to push you or
Yeah,
anything else, but you have the knowledge.
we could talk about that. Basically, the satellite nerd explaining to a noob is like is basically like, and I need to be able to break it down to people a little bit better, just because some people coming in this, they want to really get into it, but they just have no idea where to start.
That's where
And
I can.
I was the same way at one point too. I had a little dish from my toy Millennium Falcon when I was a kid. Well, my brother's Millennium Falcon, and I thought it was cool. It was this toy plastic radar dish on this
Right.
Millennium Falcon toy that we had. So I grew up in that space era, right? Of the in the late '70s, and there was all these spacey movies
Oh yeah.
of
Yeah.
Star Wars and all that. So I think that's part of my satellite fascination is my fascination that I had growing up with all those space movies and Star Trek and all that kind of stuff.
I'm telling you. So it doesn't matter if everyone is into this or not into this. I mean, obviously there's a market for it. I mean, if you have people that are following you on your YouTube channel at all, there's a market for it.
Oh yeah, I got about um, over 14,000 subscribers now, and that's amazing. That many people would follow me. I remember I started doing videos and I didn't even have 1,000, a few hundred, and I'm gaining hundreds a month, which is
That's
great.
great.
And I'm having fun with it. I enjoy making videos, and it's only like a little bit of my time, but I think about it all the time. Like even when I'm driving, I'm thinking, well, what can I do for a video that hasn't been done?
With 14,000 subscribers, I mean, even if 1/10 of those bought something that we produce, that's going to be some good coin. I mean, once again, I look at it at the internet as a business, and I'll be honest, I do not have 14,000 subscribers. If I did, I would be in hog heaven because it would be fantastic. I don't know. I work with a lot of I network with a lot of internet marketing folks. Most of them don't even have close to 14,000, and they're doing very well financially.
I know that. Yeah, I know there's people and they say that they're making really good money off of internet marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You go to their YouTube channel, really? They only have 500 subscribers.
That's a very, very, very small part of it. Unless you're YouTube focused, it's a very, very, very small part of it. So if you're willing to, all you got to do is talk. I'll take care of everything else, and we split the profits, and we'll be good to go. Or you get most of the profits, 75-25, something like that. I don't mind. I did that with a gentleman about 10 years ago. He was a raw food expert. And at the time I found him on YouTube. And this is what I was doing podcasts before podcasts were cool. Then I got away from doing it, and it's only get me started on that story. But I interviewed him. It was only supposed to be for about 30, 45 minutes, something like that. At that time, I told him, I said, dude, I only asked for this much of your time, so we can go on. He says, we're on a roll, keep going. Ended up being a 90-minute interview, and he talked the whole time, basically. I asked him a few questions, and it was great. And the deal we had is I'll take care of everything. All you got to do is talk. And we did it a 3-way split because it was him and his girlfriend and me. And so I'll take care of all the technology because he had 50,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. After we were done, we put it together. Just the audio, nothing else. We didn't put it in ebook form or anything else. He pimped it out to his followers and says, hey, Andrew interviewed me. Here's the link. Go for it. We did well. We did well.
That's good. Yeah.
We did well. Yeah, because
I've been listening to podcasts for a long time too. I think that's what killed me. I decided I didn't want cable anymore because there's so much content, and it's not necessarily mainstream content, but it's good content where you learn stuff. And I like learning stuff. I can't watch this. Even though I talk about all that broadcast TV, I can't really watch a lot of the stuff that's on broadcast TV. Like I watch the news and maybe some documentaries that are on PBS, but I'm not really into a lot of shows. Like I was talking to a friend today on Discord, and it's like you can recommend to me a show, but it's very rare that I actually sit down and watch TV shows. There's been 2 that I've watched recently. One is The Mandalorian, and the other one is Cobra Kai. I really like those shows, but other than that, there has been shows or movies that I have been really anxious to go see. I was kind of let down with all the new Star Wars movies, although I did like The Mandalorian, but I felt like I was waiting 30 years for these new Star Wars movies to come out, and it's kind of a letdown.
I haven't seen a Mandalorian yet.
Oh, it's good. It redeems the franchise of Star Wars
Okay.
because
Okay.
the movies were. I think they're okay. They're probably poo pooed on more harder because people like to poo poo things on the internet really bad. Like I grew up playing the video game ET on Atari,
Oh my gosh.
and I played it for hours. I didn't have the internet to tell me that this is the worst game in history. I popped it in, played it for a while, fell in holes. I was like, this is not good.
Have you seen? Speaking of ET, have you seen the documentary about the birth and death of the ET and the video game and all
Oh,
the
the video game? Oh, yes. Yeah. There's a
and
lot of
they were
myths
all
around
buried
that,
or
though.
something like that? All the copies were
Yeah.
buried and they uncovered them.
Well, see, that's one thing that a lot of people have wrong is that all the copies were buried. I had 2 or 3 of those copies of those video games. They made too many of them. They made more of the ET games than they actually were Atari 2600s to play them on.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember having 2 of those cartridges, or of the ET cartridge, and I think anyone I knew that had an Atari had one of those.
See, I had an Atari and I didn't have ET.
Oh, really? Yeah.
No, never got into that. I was in more the racing ones, the drag racing and the
Yeah.
auto racing. And I loved Adventure, the one Adventure.
Yeah, I was from an era I think where I didn't like role play games for the longest time. I liked spaceships where you're inside of a spaceship and you can blow up other spaceships or asteroids or
Asteroids, yeah. Donkey Kong, but I never really got into Donkey Kong much.
Yeah,
But,
I like that later. Yeah,
yeah.
Donkey Kong Jr. is what I had. I played that on and the cool thing is there's a website called Virtual Atari, and you can actually play the Atari games on your computer.
Really?
It's right in your browser. So like in Firefox or Mozilla or whatever, or Chrome or whatever you're using.
Yeah. Wow.
And it has like hundreds of games because I guess they're so old they don't care about them for copyright anymore.
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
archive.org has a bunch of them too.
Which one?
Archive.org.
Archive.org. I have to go look into that.
That's a website you should check out. If you did podcasts way back in the day, it has this thing called the you might have seen this, the Internet Time Machine, where you can go back to the internet in like 1996 and see what web pages look like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I had a web page in late 90s. I started putting a web page up before YouTube. I used to put videos up, and then if you had a video go viral, you get an extra bill for all the people downloading all your videos.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Where did you host it at the time? Do you remember?
Penguin Host, which was
Penguin Host.
Yeah, that was a hosting company I was using way back in the day, and then YouTube came along, and I posted a few videos there. But then for a while, I was into video editing, in the 90s, digital video editing when it was all new, and I should have been doing this years. All the stuff that I'm doing now. Sometimes I wish I was doing this before, but I guess it was just life preparing me, I guess.
Oh yeah. So you don't have a website now?
I do. I do have two links. I have robbiestrike.com.
Good. And you have your name.
I have
good.
freesatellitetv.net.
Oh my word! Good for you.
Yeah.
So do you have anything on them? Do you do anything with them?
I basically have the URLs pointed at Facebook pages. Facebook pages, but Facebook's just so easy to like a Facebook page. So it's so easy to update. I just post it on Facebook, and you don't even have to be on Facebook to view them. It's just Facebook's hosting the page for me because it's a free way of using a website.
Well, absolutely, yeah. Good for you. Yeah, because I have andrewpaletto.com, or right now I don't have anything going on with it, and topfitnessstrategies.com.
You can create a Facebook page, and it's free, and then just point your website there and have a pin post for all that stuff. And I even have a shop on my Free Satellite TV Net store, so it allows me to have referral links to what satellite receiver to go buy and what dish to buy and things like that.
Oh yeah, and there better be affiliate links, dude. You're missing out on a lot of money here.
Well, I'm making a little bit doing that.
Good.
Do $1,000 in sales, and I can make maybe $20.
Well, we got to get you doing more than that for crying out loud. If you're making if a company's making $1,000 from what you're from you, they should be paying you more than $20. I mean, gee whiz.
Yeah.
That's the way I'd look at it. I mean, I used to work in sales quite a bit, and so like,
that doesn't sound like a good commission to you, does it?
no, not at all. No. So, I'm wanting to say you're younger than me, but the way you're talking, we have a lot of the same stuff. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 42.
Okay, yeah, I just turned 54, so yeah, you're a lot younger than me.
54. So would you consider yourself a Gen Xer still? No,
I never did, but it's funny you say that because just this week I found out that the Gen X started in like 64 to 85 or 86, something like that. So with the Gen X
81, I think is what. Yeah.
I would never consider myself a Gen X until I heard that. I'm like, I guess I am a Gen X. I was born in 67. Yeah.
Yeah, see, I was born in the late 70s, but yet I had older brothers. I think that's what exposed me to some of the older shows that I still think are cool today, like Star Wars, and Knight Rider and Airwolf, and kind of cool stuff like that they had in the 80s.
Remember the show Riptide? Remember that one?
Yes, Riptide. Yes. What was the guy, the nerdy guy in that show? There, he had the robot and all that.
The only thing I remember about it is if that's the show I'm thinking of. Didn't they have a Volkswagen Beetle convertible they drove?
Oh, possibly, yeah.
I think that's the only thing I remember about the show. That and the name.
I watched it recently. What was it? Get TV? I think it was Get TV. One of the Diginets had it on reruns, and I got to see it again. And I was PVRing it for a while. But
wow,
the problem is when you have a PVR and you have all the stuff, I don't have time to watch shows. I used to have all these hard drives, and I PVR all my shows, and I don't have time to watch them.
So that's a newbie question. See, I don't know what a PVR is.
Oh, personal video recorder. That's like the modern VCR.
Okay, see, I think it's Pat's Blue Ribbon PVR for an old guy like myself. PVR. Mm-hmm. See, so there's another thing. See, that's old hat to you, but to somebody like me. So there you go. And no, if you, I don't know if you're watching my whole show earlier. I was talking about older TV shows.
I missed it. I just kind of clicked on and I saw you. And you're talking WWE, and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I saw the link to join, and I thought I'd like to try that.
Right before that, I was talking about different shows, and there was a show in the '90s called Silk Stockings. I don't know if you ever heard of that one.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah,
one of my all-time favorites. It was on Monday evenings after WWF at the time, after Monday Night Raw, and it's the only reason I started watching it because I had the TV on. Raw went up there. And it had this hot-looking chick come through there in lingerie, just with the legs from the waist down. Like, oh my God, what is this show? And so I got hooked on it right away. It was right after WWF Raw at the time.
I think I remember seeing it on CBS. I might have switched networks.
Yeah, when it first started, it was called Crime Time After Prime Time, and it was a conglomerate with the USA and CBS. But then CBS dropped it, and USA kept it all through the '90s. Yeah.
Yeah, the USA was like that was the thing with when we didn't get USA. It was not just wrestling, but there was other shows that were on the USA Network and on TNT that we would get here, but it would be like maybe delayed by a few years or something like that. Weird Science was a show that we got it like years later here in Canada.
You mean the movie or was there a TV show?
There was a TV show version of it that it ran for quite a few years too.
See, I don't remember that at all. No.
Yeah, it was on. In the 90s for a while, and it was kind of like 10 years after the movie Weird Science came out too. So
okay, all right.
Striking while the needle was still hot, I don't think.
So what was some other older shows? See, in the 90s, Silk Stockings and WWF was the only thing I watched in the 90s that I remember.
I watched the X-Files in the 90s.
I never got into that. I have some friends that like the X-Files and Jag, I think was another show in the 90s.
Jag, yeah.
Yeah. There was Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman.
Yeah, and there's a new one out now, eh? I was just watching that. My friend recommended.
I just saw a commercial for that the other day.
It was on today.
Lois or something like that. Yeah.
CW Network, and there was this. What's it called? Lois and Clark or Superman and Lois?
Superman and Lois, something like that. So, is the CW something you pick up on there on your K-band stuff or
sometimes? But I don't think I can get it now. I get it with the antenna, so I live in Kingston, which is close enough to the U.S. border. It's kind of like just down the road from where Toronto is, right? Like a couple hours from Toronto. And so I'm close enough to Watertown, and sometimes I can get Syracuse channels. So in Canada, we only got one over-the-air channel that's actually in Canada. But because the radio station or TV channels don't stop at the border, so I get like probably about 30 American channels with my antenna.
Oh, wow. I used to have an uncle that lived in Kingston. Then he moved for a while. Yeah, he worked in he commuted from Kingston to Toronto, worked at some nuclear power plant or something like that.
Oh, the Oshawa plant, probably.
I don't know which one. I could tell you.
That was the one we got a scary message about a year ago or so on the phone. Is that there's been a reactor leak in the ocean, and there was this, the notifications that go on cell phones or whatever, and then it became a false alarm. But then I'm like, oh no, we're downwind from that. We need to go north to get away from the radiation, and it was nothing. The same thing happened, I think, a year earlier. Is they thought North Korea was gonna bomb Hawaii, and that actually happened to Hawaii. If you look it up, they sent those scary notifications early in the morning, Amber Alert, on cell phones.
Oh yeah, this was about a year ago, 2 years ago, something like that.
Years ago, it was when the North Korea cooled off. There was tension there.
Yeah,
and it got cooled off. Remember, and so.
Oh yeah.
So there was this threat. I need to get a drink of water. Would you be able to? I can come right back. I just want to get some.
Well, I was going to say I'm ready to get off the air anyway here.
Okay, it's getting late. I got to get used to my daytime schedule. Work starting back up for me. So.
Well, seriously, think about doing something. I'll take care of all the production work on the behind the scenes. All you got to do is talk and answer questions, and let's get something going, because you got a market there, dude, and I hate to see your knowledge go to waste when you could make a lot of money off of it. And of course, I'm looking for myself as well. I want to make some money too. So
we all need to find. I want to start a TV station. I wish I played the lottery last night. I didn't win that $70 million, but okay, $30,000 a month to have a high definition free to air satellite channel. I can find lots of YouTube people who are content creators who are very talented and just need that break, and be a channel with kind of an attitude. Like, that's what I liked about TV channels, like when they start out, they kind of have this attitude that's fun and something you want to see. And I don't know, that's been my dream. But right now with my family, I don't want to get involved in something that big, because that would be like, I don't want something that would consume all my time.
Oh yeah. Well, think about the other thing I talked about from there.
Small steps.
All right, brother. Well, come on again sometime. We'll do this again.
Okay, yeah, I'll do this again. Maybe I'll have you on my show sometime when we can. I'm going to stream probably on Tuesday nights now.
Okay.
So if you want to come join me when I do my live streams.
See, I don't know how to find anything on YouTube Live. I've tried, and
it can be hard.
Yeah,
you have to click the bell notifications on the people you subscribe to, apparently.
Okay.
But even that might not throw out the notifications. I'm not sure.
Twitch, it's real easy to find people. People, and I don't know anything about Twitch. I just started broadcasting on there, and all of a sudden people started.
Well, StreamYard, you can put this. Well, you have it on Facebook, and you have it on Stream.
Have you ever heard of Streamlabs? The Streamlabs is another one I've heard about yesterday. So I'm looking into that as well. So, all right, dude, I'm gonna let you go. So get out of here. Get your drink of water.
We'll have to talk again sometime.
All right, bud. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, that was my buddy Robbie. Okay, so I'm going to go off the air now, but appreciate it. And all right, once again, Saturday Night Chit Chat. Thanks, folks, for being here, and we'll do this again soon. Take care.